What's up, everybody? Welcome to an all-new episode of Fairway to Heaven, only on the All About the Birds Network. I am Phil Stiefel, joined as always by my partner, Jason Sullivan. And all I could say is it's the green jacket, which means one thing. It means Masters Week. It means it's the freaking Masters again, 5 months after we started this whole golf experiment back in November of last year. Real quick, got to shout out our sponsor, Hemp Bombs, premium CBD products. Check them out at www.hempbombs.com. Promo code AATBirds for 20% off your next purchase on their website. Great stuff. So everybody, welcome to the show. Jason, tell me you're as fired up as I am for Masters Week.
Dude, I'm so fired up. You know what I was going to mention? I was going to say this is the 1 year anniversary of this podcast, but then I realized that was only 5 months ago. So this is the 5-month anniversary of the All About the Birds golf show.
Yeah. For those that don't know, I mean, me and Jason, we got hooked up with All About the Birds. We were doing our fantasy football show. And I was like, you know what? We've got this great network of followers. Let's do some Masters talk last November. I'm like, we got to do a regular golf show. And that's where it all started. You know, it gives me that one time a year to look spiffy in my green jacket. I love it. I even put a white shirt so it kind of matched. So it looked like I was paying attention and all. Because if you ever notice, never does a golfer have a shirt on Sunday when they win the Masters that matches the ugly green jacket.
True story. Yeah, it's always, Tiger with the red, Reed with the pink. Yeah.
It never works. It never works out. But, whatever. They must have a lot of jackets and a lot of sizes sitting there waiting, I got this one. It doesn't fit me. All right, so let's jump right into the Masters because that's what everybody's tuning in for. We love the Masters. It's the greatest golf tournament, in my opinion. 89 best golfers in the world. Top 50 in ties make the cut. So this is a premier, field, the best of the best. So it makes navigating the betting and the DraftKings aspect of it a little tricky because there's a lot to look into and there's a lot to dive into. So what's the first thing you think of when you're looking at the the lineups and the field and all? What are you looking at to start with?
I think the biggest thing is course history. Course history, I think, matters here more than anywhere else. So guys that do well here consistently do well. And like Coach said last week, he brought up some interesting points. First off, first-timers never do well here. And then the second one is Coach brought up the point of overweight golfers never doing well here because they have to walk the course, and it's a tough course to walk.
Forgot about that. Let me check my list of bets made here. I forgot about that part of it.
That's exactly right. But, yeah, obviously the cream rises to the top here. So that's the biggest thing. I heard this on Pat Mayo's show yesterday that Bubba Watson is the lowest-ranked golfer since 2012 to win the Masters, and he was 18th in the world at that point. So, obviously, the cream rises to the top. I think the lowest to ever win was Schwartzel at 28th in the world. So, you're not going to get these 150-1 guys that are going to come out and win this week. So, I think course history is where you got to start this week. What about you?
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think you look at a lot of things. Course history, absolutely. You got to look at the people with the second shot. I know it's a long course, and we got some big bombers that have a chance at really contending this week and all, but they got to be able to hit their second shots. And the course history lends into the other thing. Putting is so key because these greens, every person you've heard talk this week in their interviews is saying how firm and fast the greens are this week. So you got to have guys that are really, really locked in putting because you misread the speed on one putt, and that's a downhill putt. That ball is going to race off for right back out into the fairway. So it's something that, it's not one thing over the other, but, those second shots, those approach shots, and that putting, so important.
It's funny. Somebody brought up a point today, and I heard them say these greens are like putting on marble. So good luck with that, golfers, this week. It's going to be – obviously, there's that sub-air system underneath not only the greens at this course, but the entire golf course. So they can make this course play however they want to play. If they want to make it play easy, they can make it play easy. Doubt that's going to happen. They didn't like last year, I don't think, the directors or whatever you want to call them at Augusta. They didn't like the fact that the winning score was 20 under. I think they wanted to stay around between 10 and 15, maybe even closer to 10. So I think they're going to make this course tougher this week, and I think we're in for. There's not supposed to be all that much weather leading up to this week, so I think it's going to be interesting this week, and I think the course is going to play tough.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So there's so many names I want to talk about this week. So instead of talking this or that, I want to just dive right into the DraftKings board. because there's so many names to talk about, and we normally break this down by tiers, and we just pick 1 or 2 names in the 10K above, a couple names in the 9K. I want to talk about almost every guy in the 10K range and above to start the show, just because, again, like you said, the cream always rises to the top here. So first off, the most expensive person to play in DraftKings this week is obviously Dustin Johnson, defending champ. He's 11-5. What are your thoughts on, first off, him this week? First off, he's never finished outside the top 10 since 2014 at the Masters. So if you're looking for course history, he's got a green jacket, and he's finished in the top 10 or above. What's that, 7 straight years?
Yeah,
I mean, how can you not bet him? But on the flip side of the equation, how many people have really won back-to-back Masters?
Right, exactly. No, not many. And I was kind of hoping that he would be super underowned this week, to be honest with you. There's a lot of talk about Rahm, Justin Thomas, a lot of these guys. I was kind of hoping that he would fly under the radar, but I looked at some ownership projections, which, by the way, I have available to us. So if you're curious on anybody's ownership projections, I got it.
Right.
But yeah, they have him at 14%. And for example, Rahm is at 16%. So really, that's not any difference between the two of them for the most part. So I don't know. Like you said, his course history is great. He hasn't been very good for his last, let's say month or so. And that kind of worries me coming into this event, because typically the winner of this event, it comes in really good form. So
right. But hold on a second. So let's say he hasn't been in great form. His last 5 events, so from January 7th till now, not counting the match play, because DraftKings doesn't list match play in the history. He's got an 11th, a first in Europe at the Saudi Invitational, an 8th, a 54th, and a 48th. So he's got a first, an 8th, and an 11th in 3 of his last 5 events. I mean, he's not playing great. Don't get me wrong. But he's just not playing great by his standards. He's still playing really solid golf.
Well, and that's a good point, too. He's not playing great for his standards, right? And the same thing with Rory. Rory's kind of in the same boat. I just look at these other guys up here, and you see guys like Rahm. I mean, his recent history, T5, T9, T32, T5, T13, T7 over the last 10 weeks. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm starting my lineups with Rahm this week, and which means I'm going to have to fade DJ. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure yet. I haven't made, I wrote down, because we're going to add another segment just because it's Masters week. I wrote down 3 lineups I tried to build, and I'm going to ask you your opinion on them. Honestly, the 3 I built, I don't have Dustin in any of them. But on the flip side of the equation, I think he's more of a fade in DraftKings and a bet to win. You take the chance on the lower odds. You place a strong bet. Will he repeat? I don't know. But he's someone that could finish first. I don't think he finishes outside the top 10, but I think in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range is about the max that you're going to get out of him. And an 11-5 is a really good value in finishing 10th place when you're paying 11-5. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Not really. Yeah, not really.
You said you like Rahm a lot this week.
Yeah, Rahm's my favorite for sure. Obviously, I just named his recent course history, but he's played this course 6 times and has 5 top 13 finishes. Also, maybe most importantly, he had a baby on Sunday, which they call it the nappy factor. You always play guys after they become a father for the first time because they come out blazing. I don't know if it's like a weight lifted off their shoulders or just pure happiness or what it is, but you always play the guys with the baby swag. So he is going to be my favorite.
I was going to ask you that. As a dad, you're a dad. I actually think it's tough to imagine having a baby on Sunday and then 3-4 days later being teeing it up at the Masters. I don't see the two. Aren't you tired after having a kid? Aren't you, exhausted? Isn't there stress? A lot of things that go on those first few days. I just don't know how his focus can be there, because I'm actually fading Jon Rahm on everything, betting and drafting. Okay. I'm scared of the baby factor. I know what you just said, but I'm scared of it.
You know what's funny? I actually thought that same thing over in my head. I'm like, what did I do the first 4 days? You know what I didn't do? I did not. I like that. You know what I didn't do the first 4 days? I didn't sleep. I went to sleep Sunday night, and the next time I went to sleep was Wednesday night. So that's what I did the first few days of being a dad. And so it's obviously tough, but you're kind of running on adrenaline. And I don't know. It just seems like there's pretty good history in taking the guys with the nappy factor. So
okay, all right.
I don't know why they call it the nappy factor.
So I'm actually rolling with the next guy in the 10K range. He's probably going to be in 2 or 3 of my lineups. I've already made one outright bet for him. I know he doesn't have great Masters history, but probably one of the guys playing the best golf in all of golf right now, Bryson DeChambeau. He's the first guy under the 11K number. He's 10-8. Last year at the Masters, he finished in 34th place. But I mean, let's look at it. So he's tops on the field in tee to green, best the last 24 rounds in off the tee. Shots, he's fourth in shots gained putting. The guy, is playing great golf. He's going to be able to out-hit everybody on the course. If he hits the fairway or even has a shot at the green, his iron play is way better than people give him credit for. And we've talked about it on this show before. What's his most underrated part of his game? Putting. What do you need to do at the Masters with super fast marble, putting greens? Be able to putt.
Yeah, you need to be able to drive and you need to be able to putt. Those are the two most important things. And what does he do best? Those two things. So
he's best off the tee, and he's fourth best putting. So, I love Bryson this week. I think this is the week where, winning the other events is kind of vindication for what he's doing. But if he slips on the green jacket, it totally vindicates everything that he's doing. It's also going to make all the talk of changing rules, to get him. It's going to bring in so much more attention by him winning. I love Bryson this week. What are your thoughts on Bryson?
Can I just start off by asking you a question? Is there ever a week that you don't love Bryson?
No. Ever since
no.
I heard on the Golf Channel them bashing him and saying they should change the rules to affect his game, he has instantly become my number one favorite golfer.
That's right. So
he hasn't won since then, but he's still my favorite golfer.
So I've been going back and forth with Bryson a lot this week. My mind's telling me no, but my body no, never mind. But yeah, I think I might play him this week. I'm not 100% sure yet, to be honest with you. I like the other guys in this range better, I think, than him, being John Rahm and JT. But like you said, if anybody can just dominate this course, it's probably going to be Bryson. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one, to be honest.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. All right. So you just mentioned JT, Justin Thomas. He's 10-6, the Players Champion, obviously one of the top 5 golfers in the world. He's playing great golf to an extent. Most of his downward spiral this year has come around the death of his grandfather, but outside of that, he's been playing great golf. So I heard this somewhere, and I didn't go back. I just heard it like 2 hours ago, and I didn't go research it. Somebody said that no one has won the Players and the Masters in the same year outside of Tiger Woods. Do you know if that's accurate or not?
I did not ever hear that, no.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if that's accurate, does that say stay away from Justin Thomas? Now, maybe make a bet on him in the top 10, top 5 finish. But if that stat is correct, that nobody's ever won both in the same year other than Tiger, that tells me to fade him 110% this week.
That's a good point. I was kind of looking at it differently, I guess. I was looking at it his last 4 years here. He's done better each year. T22, T17, T12, 4th. So he's played it 4 times, and each year he's gotten better at it. So that's what I like. He comes in really good form, but obviously that makes a huge difference. If that set is correct, then that makes a big difference. So I don't know. I'm not sure then.
Yeah, I just Google searched it. I'm trying to find out. Man, it's a tough thing to Google on the fly. Man.
You know who else I do love about 10K? Kind of while you're looking? Xander at 10,000. He has been really good here. T2 and T17 is 2 times here. He's always in good form. He pretty much never really is not in good form. And he always seems to show up in majors. I think he's going to win a major sooner or later. And I like him a lot at 10,000.
Tiger is the only one to do it in 2001. No other players ever won both events the same season. So a little bit of information there to make you just question JT a little bit. And then if JT somehow pulls through and wins this week, that just puts him in the upper echelon of great golfers, obviously, as well.
Yeah, 2001, that's like prime Tiger, too. So
yeah, that was when he was at the peak of his game. So, Xander's a great play this week. I think he's a great play fantasy-wise. I think he's a great player to bet on all different kinds of bets. I have him as a round 1 leader bet going. I've got lots of Xander plays this week. I want to touch on, in my opinion, the most intriguing name in the 10K and above, because we've talked about every one of them, and you just skipped right from Justin Thomas over this guy to get to Xander. And I brought it up on Twitter today. Rory McIlroy, he's 19-1 to win the event. He's 10,200 on DraftKings. Rory's a guy, in my opinion, that he's played, people say, some bad golf. And I said it with Dustin Johnson. He's played bad golf by his standards. if you really look at Rory, he missed the cut at the Players, but he finished in 10th at the Arnold Palmer, 6th at the Workday. He missed the cut at the Genesis, 13th at the Waste Management, 16th at the Farmers, third at the Abu Dhabi one, 5th at the Masters last year in November. So he's at a 5th, a 3rd, a 16th, a 13th, a 6th, and a 10th to go along with 2 missed cuts. That's not bad. Yes, he's not winning events, but he's finishing in the top 20 or better in every event.
Right.
So what are your thoughts? I think at 19-1, that's a steal for someone of his pedigree to win the event.
So I think I like the bet better than I like the DraftKings play. And here's why. Let me read you this quote that he said today and see if this changes your mind at all. He said, "I'm just at the start of a journey here, and I know that I need to get back to where I want to be." So basically, he's just at the start of his journey, he says, of reworking his swing. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence in him. So I'm probably fading him on DraftKings this week, but I think that's not a bad bet, especially at 19. I feel like anytime you get Rory above 10-1, it's good. It's a good bet.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just think it's hard to imagine. I mean, he hasn't had the fall that, Ricky Fowler has had or that Jordan Spieth had and is coming back from. He's still competing and in the top 10 and top 5 of multiple events over and over again. So I don't understand where this narrative, because he missed 2 cuts, that he's all of a sudden a bad golfer, and he's fallen to 19-1. I agree. You fade him at 10,200 to, on a DraftKings lineup, but I am not staying away from him on a bet. 19-1. As soon as I saw that, I locked it in immediately.
So my one question with him is why? Okay, so obviously he missed his last 2 cuts, like you said, one of them being the Players, which I kind of toss out. Why is Rory reworking his swing? It seems like, yeah, he wasn't winning, but I mean, this guy's finishing top 10 every single time he plays. It seems like I don't understand why he feels like he needs to tear it down and build it back up.
He hasn't won in a little while. What was it, like late 2018, the last time he won?
Yeah.
Rory's a guy that expects to win every time out there. If anything, 5th place or 10th place or 16th place, that's not meeting his expectations. But on the flip side of the equation, it's not like he's had, like Dustin Johnson's had a 50-something and a 40-something in his last 2 events. That's not what Rory hasn't done that. Right. Based off of Dustin's last 2 events, you would think he would have fallen down a little bit, but he's still right up there at the top. So it's a little confusing to me. I love him this week. I actually think he's my number 2 pick to win this event outside of, Bryson DeChambeau or Rory. I mean, I have other bets that I really like this week. We'll get into them later or as the show goes on. But I love Rory this week. I really, really do. And as soon as somebody retweeted and commented, Harry Mays, great Philadelphia sportscaster, commented on my post today, and he said that anytime to root against Rory is a good time, that instantly, just like Bryson, put him up in the top of my book. I love the people that people like to bash. They're always my favorites.
How do you not like Rory though? Bryson I get, but Rory, it's like he's pretty likable. I don't really understand that one. But
I don't get it either. So all right, let's jump into that 9K range. And again, the Masters Premier Field. These are like names in the 9K that are top-notch golfers. So you got Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, recent winner Jordan Spieth. Finally, I know you want to talk about Jordan Spieth, Patrick Reed, Brooks Koepka, 5th place Finau, and Webb Simpson. You go first. What's your favorite play here in the 9K range?
Well, there's 2. So the first one is Jordan Spieth, 9,400. I think he's the most.
I knew you were going to say him. I think
he's the most mispriced golfer in this field, to be honest with you. I think that's way too low overpriced. I think he should be over 10 in this field.
I disagree with that so much.
That's one of them. So I feel like old Jordan's back, and anytime he plays Augusta, he's good. The other one is Cantlay, 9,800. Love Cantlay this week. The problem is I think everybody else does too. T17 and T9 his last 2 times here. He has 4 top 18s in his last 5 events too. So he's obviously a good course fit, but he's also playing really good golf right now. So I love him. I think he's a guy that can win this week too. Let me look at his ownership though. I think his ownership is going to be super high.
On Patrick Cantlay. So here's an interesting stat that I found. Tee to green. Okay. So Dustin Johnson, the 90 days leading up to, or 90 rounds leading up to his win last year, he led the league or the tour in tee to green, strokes gained tee to green. In 2015, Jordan Spieth led the 90 days leading up to it. Patrick Cantlay is currently leading in the last 90 days tee to green. So does that translate? I don't know, but I do like Patrick Cantlay a lot this week.
Top 5 guaranteed this week. I'm not saying he's going to win for sure, but Mike, if you're watching, top 5 bet on Patrick Cantlay this week is
Absolutely
guaranteed.
love that.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely love
Book it.
top 5 Patrick Cantlay from you. Absolutely love that. So, and Jordan Spieth, I don't know. Something tells me that, again, it's the Masters. Everybody gets hyped up for the Masters. I know that. But I don't know. That whole thing of winning and the emotion it takes to win last week, sometimes, it takes a little out of you this week. Is he fully 100% ready to go this week? You would hope so because it's the Masters. I'm just not sold on Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth will make the cut, obviously. He'll finish maybe in the top 10 or top 20, but I'm not buying him. He was last week's event back. He's not major contender back, in my opinion. There's a difference between the play-in games and the build-up events and the majors, okay? There's a big, big difference. So I'm not sure if his putter's ready to putt on the Masters greens. That's just my opinion. And Mike's right now. Mike's making that Patrick Cantlay bet right there with you.
The only thing I'm worried about with Spieth is that he's played a lot of golf over the past 2 months. He's played almost every single week. Plus, he went deep in the match play. So that's my one worry with him is that, him coming into it, having won, like you said, you expend a lot of energy to winning. So I still love him, so I'm going to play him a lot, but I can see why you wouldn't.
So you say you got the ownership percentages. What is Webb Simpson's ownership percentage supposed to be or expected to be?
13.5% is the prediction.
That's not bad at 9,000. He's 9K. It's another great. You have to be able to iron player, second shot course. He's great at that. His last 3 major or Masters appearances, he's got a 10th, a 5th, and a 20th. Hasn't missed a cut since 2015. Second in shots gained around the green last 24 rounds. I'm pretty high on Webb Simpson at 9K. I wrote down next to him, I thought it might be a low ownership percentage. It's not as low as I thought at 13%, but what are your thoughts on Webb Simpson this week?
I think that's still good. He hasn't been as good with his irons lately, but I think he's a good pick. I mean, he consistently does really well here too. That's the most important thing here. So let's see his last. So he had a T10 in November here, a T5 the year before, and a T20 the year before that. So obviously he likes his course. He's a good course fit here. So I like Webb a lot this week. To be honest with you too, that sounds like a decently high ownership number, but they have Jordan Spieth listed at 25% owned.
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean, half the ownership.
That's a huge
half
fade
the ownership for Webb. Yeah, I mean, you could get a similar player for half the ownership. That's huge.
Absolutely. So I want to dive into a few names I don't like in the 9K range and your thoughts on them. Everybody was jumping all over Tony Finau and how great he was. His odds were getting better to win, and then he just went and missed a whole bunch of cuts. Didn't make it out of the group play at the match play event and all. What's he finished like 38th last year at the Masters, something like that. Barely in the top 40. 38th last year. What are your thoughts on 5th place Finau this week?
So torn. 38th last year in the fall, like you said, but before that, T5 and T10 here. Yeah. The problem is for me is that his last 3 events, like you said, so he was cut. He didn't make it out of the match play, out of the group round, and then cut the week before that too. So pretty much 3 weeks in a row of not playing well. That makes me a little bit nervous too. So I have a rule. So the same little file on my phone where I have the dead to me list, I also have a rules list. And the rule is you always play Tony Finau at majors. So I don't know. I'm torn on Finau, to be honest with you.
So his last 2 tournaments, the match play and what was it, the Valero before that?
Valero, yeah.
He has lost 8.92 strokes to the field. That's a lot of lost strokes. Yeah, I do not know how. I was all thinking leading up to this event, like if you would have told me to build my lineup 5 weeks ago, Tony Finau would have been the first name I clicked on it. But I know course history plays into it, but recency form has to play somewhat. And if you're that ice cold going into the Masters, the toughest event to win on tour, a major that has had people win it over par. Okay. So Zach Johnson, right? +1, +2, back when he won it. I fade Tony Finau 110% on DraftKings, on betting across the platform for me.
Well, definitely don't bet him. That's for damn
no
sure. Definitely.
Maybe I'll make a bet on him to miss the cut. I don't know.
right.
I'll look at those odds.
It's kind of funny though because we just compared. We said recent form is huge and stats tee to green are huge. And if he's doing bad in both of those categories, I'm not sure how you play him this week. To be honest with you,
can't play him this week at all. So another guy in this range I want to talk about. I've already made a bet on him to miss the cut. Where is it? I think I bet him it was almost 3-1. I can't find where I wrote down it. Almost 3-1 on him to miss the cut. Okay. What did the coach talk about last week? Again, if the rare chance he listens to 1 minute of the show, thank you to the coach for coming on. It was an honor to have the coach on our show.
That's right.
So what did he talk about? The elevation change at the Masters. People don't realize on TV. I think it's like 150-foot difference from the highest point to the lowest point. It's insane, the hills at the Masters. Brooks Koepka is playing, coming off of knee surgery, like 4 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago? His doctor said there's no way he's going to play in the Masters. Then 2 days later, he shows up at Augusta. So I don't know your thoughts on Brooks Koepka, but there's no way, in my opinion, that he can contend or even play decently for 4 rounds at this course this week based off of that knee surgery.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. So first off, I don't think he plays. I think he goes to Augusta. I think he tries to practice, this week, but I don't think he plays come Thursday. Okay. That's my first.
I wonder what happens to my bet I made on him missing the cut.
You just get it back.
Okay. I'm not going to win that because he doesn't make the cut if he withdraws.
But like you said, the elevation and the hills on this course, you don't want to play a guy with a knee injury. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw that tweet the other day, but they said that when he got the surgery, they said that it could be, 6 to 8 months before he's fully healed. And then he said, and I took that personally. He tweeted that Michael Jordan meme or whatever, saying I took that personally. Like, I kind of hate Brooks. I don't know. I used to really like him, but I feel like he's more concerned with everything else besides golf at this point. And he just kind of comes in every once in a while.
He's the one golfer that everybody hates that I actually agree and hate. Everybody else, when they get hate, I'm all over the trade. Brooks Koepka, I'm off on Brooks Koepka.
It's funny. I used to love him. I just thought he was like the big game hunter. Like, he didn't really give a crap about what anybody else thought. He just went out there and won. He didn't really say that much. But now it's like he's got a comment for everything. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan. So complete fade for me if he plays, though.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I didn't even think about that aspect, that maybe he just doesn't play, that he withdraws at the last second or tees it up on Thursday and then withdraws halfway through Thursday. But there's no way, in my opinion, even if he makes the cut on Saturday, he's going to just start to wear down really fast and fall down that leaderboard super fast. So I'm off on him.
That's got T38 written all over it. So
yeah, in my opinion, T38 would be a success for Brooks Koepka. That's how low I am on Brooks Koepka this week. All right, so
thanks for over 9,000.
We skipped over 2 guys. We're going to touch on them both, and then we'll start picking and choosing in the 8 and 7Ks who we talk about. But Colin Morikawa, he leads the PGA this year in shots gained approach. He's got 2 top 10s and a W this year, 5th in greens and regulation made. I mean, he doesn't have, he's a young kid and all, but the kid is probably playing some of the best golf on tour right now. What are your thoughts on him this week?
Well, he's got 4 wins, including a major. He's 24 years old. So
exactly.
I feel like you said, his iron play fits great here. I don't play him a lot in DraftKings. I'm gonna say that first, but I'm playing him this week for sure, 100%. I don't think he's fazed by the big moments, which I think you need to be here at Augusta. You need to be locked in. So I love him. His iron play, like you said, is good. If he can putt at all, he's one hell of a player.
So here's my question, and this is where I'm confused on him. And it's not what he's done, because at 24 years old, like you said, I mean, he's a major champion winner already. He's top 10 machine. Why is he only 9,600? Like, to me, he's mispriced. And I don't know what your ownership stat page says on him, but I think he's mispriced and should either be owned really high because of that price, or I'm missing something where he's not going to have success at this course.
So his ownership is 11%, which is really low. I think there's 2 reasons why he's priced where he is. First of all, T44 last year, I don't put a lot of weight into that. The problem is T41 and T56 in his last 2 weeks. Or his last 2 events. So I don't know. That might be why, but I think I'm playing him this week too. The fact that he's got his first, you never do well your first time here. No one does.
No.
So the fact that he got it out of the way, I could care less if he missed the cut the first time. Now that he's here again for the second time, I like him. So.
All right. So one other name to look at, obviously, course history. We've talked about it over and over again. Means so much here. All right. Since his win at the Farmers in late January, Patrick Reed has got a 66, a 9th, a missed cut, and a 22nd. I don't know. I'm a big Patrick Reed guy, but I'm so torn on Patrick Reed because his recency play is not good. And 9,300, I mean, he didn't look great at the match play event, and that's match play is his ball of, that's what he does best at. And I don't know. I'm kind of staying away from Patrick Reed this week.
I'm going to fade him 100%. I think for the reasons you just said, he's not in that great of form. And look at the names around him in this. I mean, I'd actually rather Finau, to be honest with you. I'd rather Finau, Webb, Spieth. I mean, all those guys. Morikawa, I'd rather have for sure. So I think because of where he's priced around, I think he's a fade for me. If he was in the 8s, I would probably think about it more. But I think it's a fade. Okay. Are you going to fade him too?
I feel the same. I feel in the 9K range, it's Cantlay and Webb Simpson. They're my two favorites in that range, with a real close third in Morikawa. But they're the only 3 guys I would even consider playing in the 9K range. Because, again, stacked field, you get into those 8s and 7s and 6Ks. There's so much great value that you can get there.
100% agree. The 8,000 range, we can kind of go into that. The $8,000 range is loaded, I think, in my opinion. I mean, I think you could make your whole lineup in this range, to be honest with you.
You absolutely could. So I'm going to read you. This is my favorite guy in the 8K range. I'm going to read off his finishing positions since last year's Masters. He finished T46 last year at the Masters. He had a couple missed cuts after that. But since then, 17th, 5th, 11th, 10th, and 9th. That's one Matt Fitzpatrick. What are your thoughts on Matt Fitzpatrick this week?
Love him. He's always good here too. So, yeah, I definitely love him. Well, I definitely don't love him. I definitely can't stand him. But he's been amazing. I mean, like you said, he has 6 top 18s in a row. So, yeah, I love him this week. I think he's a definite must-play in this range. He might be the most surefire in the 8K range to me.
Absolutely. So here's what I wrote down when I saw this. I'm like, this already knew that I loved Matthew Fitzpatrick this week, especially on DraftKings. I forget what I bet him. I bet him at 46-1 to win outright. And I think that's a steal at 46-1. But so 4 golfers. So in the last 50 rounds, total 50 rounds played of every golfer, okay, he is 4th in shots gained total, okay, overall. The other 3 golfers in that range, Jon Rahm, Xander Schauffele, and Dustin Johnson. And then it's Matthew Fitzpatrick. So the other 3 names, everybody's betting their money on. So 4th in that category is Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's 4,600 or 46-1 and 8,100 on DraftKings. I think when I saw that, I went instantly, first player I pick in every lineup. Well, not every, but almost every lineup is Matthew Fitzpatrick.
I love that. You know what's funny about him too is that he decided this year that he was going to start playing more in the U.S. and less of going back and forth. You can't tell me that doesn't help him. I mean, anytime you're traveling overseas, I feel like that has to hurt you. He's played a couple Euro events in the past and then coming over here for 2-3 weeks and then heading back across overseas and stuff like that. So I think him being in the U.S. full time now and living in Florida, I think he lives, is definitely helping him. He's been great since the Masters last year. So I think he's the most. I don't even care about his ownership, but I think he's going to be definitely in most of my lineups. They have his ownership as 14%. So that's really not that high.
No. But it's not as low as I thought. Like, I kind of thought that a lot of people would be, it's just Matthew Fitzpatrick. That tells me at least some people know that he's, doing pretty damn well. So who's your favorite guy in this 8K range?
Well, Fitzpatrick's number 1. But I really like, there's a couple other ones I really like. Victor Hovland. He's played this one time. He was an amateur, so he finished T32, which is pretty good. I feel like his game really.
First, let me interrupt you. That's great for an amateur.
That's great.
To finish T32 in their first try at the Masters. That's really good.
I feel like his game fits his course too. He's made 6 of his last 7 cuts as well, and 4 of them have been top 5 finishes. So the guy's on fire right now. Like him a lot. I like Sungjae Im a lot too. 8,600 T2 in the fall, which I don't know what to make of that, but he's made 9 straight cuts overall. He's just solid, and I feel like his game does fit the course. He's a really good iron player. So I feel like if he gets his irons going, he could be a really good play this week. Yeah,
I mean, there are 2 of the 3 other names I had listed down because everything sets up well for them here. I had one other name listed, and I don't even know if he's ever played at the Masters before. He didn't play last year. But it's Daniel Berger at 8,500. He's got two wins in his recent year or so, 18 months, whatever. He's 15th in the world golf rankings. He's a really good shots gained in all categories. He's not just shots gained in one area only. He pretty much gained strokes on every single area that he does. I don't know if I like him to win it outright, but I love at 8,600 someone that's got multiple wins on tour in the last 12, 16 months.
Mhm.
I think that's a great price on somebody to get in your lineups.
Yeah, I like Berger a lot this week. So he didn't qualify for the 2020 Masters, so he didn't play. And then the year before that, he was injured, so he also didn't play that one. But he's played here 3 times: T32, T27, and T10. Like you said, he's in really good form. I think his game fits his course really well. I don't think he can win necessarily, but I think a top 10 is not out of the question at all. So I love Berger this week. I think Berger's going to be super highly owned. They have him at 17%, so that's pretty high. But I don't know. I feel like you could still put him in your lineups.
Okay, I got one other name I want to ask you about in the 8K range. So this is his last 9 events, including last year's Masters. He's got an 11th, a 4th, a 2nd, a 24th, a 62nd, a missed cut, a 4th, 11th, and a 17th. That's one Cameron Smith. He's 8,200. Finished 2nd in the Masters last year. He's got 3 top 4 finishes on tour in his last 9 events. Again, not sure he can win the Masters, but at 8,200, I mean, you got to like his chances to be a really good fantasy play.
Yeah, I like him. So he said T2 last year, T5 in 2018. So he's obviously had some good course history here. So I like him a lot. I don't think people do like him as a whole. So I think he could go pretty well. They say 14% on here. So that's not super low, but I don't know. I feel like it's a guy that in this range, I want people in my lineup that could contend to win. And I think he's one of the only ones that can contend to win in this range. So I like it. I have one question for you. What do you make of Scotty Scheffler?
I don't know. I was asked about him. I did a show for Statement Games, their Masters show, just before this. And they asked me about Scotty Scheffler. And I don't know. I mean, again, young guy. I mean, he finished in the top 20 last year. I think it was like T19 or T18. And he made the finals of the match play. But outside of that, I mean, he's been so up and down. He's got a 54th. He's got a missed cut. He's got a 5th. He's got a 20th. I mean, he's not what's he, 24 years old, 25 years old? He's either boom or bust, in my opinion. He's going to finish in the top 5, or he's going to finish like 45th place. So I fade him just because I'm not sure if he's consistent enough to play at this course.
You know what scared me too is last week people were on him, and I originally wasn't, and I thought my thinking was that he played too much the week before that. I didn't want, by the time he played last week, he played 10 or 11 rounds in 7 days or something like that. So I was worried about that, but I still played him some. I heard a few people say that they liked him, so I kind of jumped on the bandwagon too.
The coach said it last week that he loved him.
Yeah, so he was really good in the first 2 rounds and then awful over the weekend, which kind of made me think maybe he ran out of gas a little bit.
Yeah.
And with coming to Augusta out of gas, I don't think that fares well for him. So Scotty Scheffler's a no-go for me.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler's a probable fade. I might sneak him in maybe on one lineup, but I don't see the value in playing him this week. So other names, if you want to, I don't know if you want to touch on Hatton, Westwood, or Fleetwood, bunch of European guys. Westwood's obviously played great this year. He's obviously played majorly well at the Masters, just never winning it. Fleetwood, another really good name, and Hatton as well. But I don't see myself playing any of those names this week. I don't know about you.
It's going to depend on the weather for me. I think that's a big thing. I think if the weather gets crappy, you're going to want to play some of these Euro guys because they play better in the weather. You're going to have to look at the forecast, I think, up until Wednesday night to see. An interesting one for me is Hideki. I haven't decided what to do with Hideki. I feel like his game fits perfect for this course, but he hasn't been that good. But it's like, if anybody could catch lightning in a bottle here, I think it might be him. So I might sprinkle in a little Hideki. What are your thoughts on him?
I mean, he's been playing just same thing about Scheffler. He's been so inconsistent. He's got a T30, a missed cut, 18-15, missed cut, 42, 53. You know, he finished tied 13th last year at the Masters. But, I mean, so what's Hideki? 8,100, 8,300 on DraftKings. I mean, what's he got to finish to pay off that value? You know, I guess he could be – he's kind of a guy, in my opinion, that you break even on value with this week based off his thing. You're not going to get, when you're building your lineups, you want to have a positive return on their price. You want to get that, 2-3 times value on your player. I don't see him getting more than even money on that value. So I stay away from Matsuyama this week personally.
Somebody, I forget what podcast I was listening to that said this, but they were saying comparing Hideki. They were like, "Do you play Hideki? Do you like what are your limitations on when you play him price wise?" And the other guy said, "When have you ever looked back at a tournament and said, man, I wish I would have played Hideki? Like when was the last time? Years ago? Maybe at Waste Management 3-4 years ago." But I mean, that's a good point. I mean, when does he really burn you if you don't play him? Never really. So I think I might have just answered my own question.
Yeah, I think you talked yourself out of it. All right, let's jump into this 7K range real quick. I actually think there's a lot of really cool names to play in the 7K range. Another one of my outright bet wins at 34-1 is in this range, and I love Paul Casey this week. Where's my Paul Casey notes? He's got 4 straight top 10s this year, 5th at the Players, which is obviously a tough event. Last 12 rounds against this field, 4th in strokes gained on approach. And I know he's missed a couple cuts at the Masters, but last year 6th. He's got a 10th, 11th, a 20th, a 6th, a 4th, a 6th, a 15th. He's finished in the top 10 a lot at the Masters. He's only, 32, 34 years old? That's that perfect age where you're rounding into form to win an event like this. If you're going to pick a European guy to win this week, Paul Casey, 110% for me.
Love Paul Casey too. He's coming in recent form. We've been talking a lot about recent form and how important it is. He's made 7 cuts in a row, and all 7 are top 12 finishes. So, I mean, no worse than 12th in his last 7 events. That's really damn good. So I love him this week. My only concern with him is that they have him projected at 20% ownership. So that scares me a little bit. But at the same time, 7,700, I feel like he's underpriced. I feel like he's a guy that should be closer to maybe 83. So I do like Paul Casey this week. I feel like a lot of guys in this range that I think everybody else is going to like too. That's my one dilemma. I feel like Jason Day is a really good play. I think at 7,500. Great course history. Pretty decent form recently. Nothing too special. Adam Scott's in this range. Louis Oosthuizen, who everybody hates but always does well in majors. And then I think the most interesting one for me is Joaquin Niemann. I think he's 7,400. I love him. That dude has so much talent, and he's one of those guys that might outscore his finishing position in this tournament. So he played here once. He missed a cut, but like we said, you just got to get your feet wet here. So he's in pretty good form, and I like him to do pretty well here. I do have one question for you. What are your thoughts on Abe Ancer?
Well, he's one of the guys I was going to bring up. Finished 13th his one time here. So here's his since last year's event, last year's Masters, which he finished 13th. He's got a 12th, a 17th, a missed cut, a 5th. I can't read what number that was. A missed cut, an 18th, a 22, and a 23. So the guy's a top 20 machine, obviously. I think he makes the cut hands down. I do like him on the DraftKings side of things, but outright winner, I'm not sure. I don't know what your ownership percentage is on him, but I think it's 7,400. Anything 15% and below, I think you're getting great value and potential huge return on your money.
11% is what they have.
That's a steal then. And to my opinion, if he could be 11% owned and you could play him, you should be putting if you want to play those top guys at 7,400, you've got to play players in that under 7,500 range. And Ancer's a surefire. There's no chance in my mind that he misses the cut.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think there's some interesting names at the lower end of this range that I really like too that I think are going to be super low owned. There's 4 of them. I'll just read them to you. Billy Horschel, Max Homa, Matthew Wolff, and Victor Perez. The highest of those guys owned is going to be Max Homa at 9%. So those guys are all really low owned. And I think I kind of like all of them as sleepers, to be honest with you.
I mean,
Billy
I'm going to tell you,
my
Matt
guy.
Wolff, is on the dead to me list. So Matt Wolff, 0 chance. I don't care what he's doing. Max Homa is a guy I've thought about. I've bounced his name, in my head multiple times. The problem is I like Ancer. I like Casey. And you already brought up Jason Day. I love Jason Day as well. So when I'm in the 7K range, they're the 3 names I'm looking at. Day, Ancer, and Casey. I'm playing 1, 2, or all 3 of them in some of my lineups. Just because I love their potential this week. I'm also going to mention I'm going to fade 100% Zalatoris this week. What are your thoughts on him?
First timer. I just don't like first timers. I think he's a stud, but I just feel like this course presents something that no other course does. So yeah, I'm fading him too. I love the guy. I play him almost every single week, but he's a fade for me this week.
Yeah, absolutely. There's multiple former champions. We really haven't talked about Bubba Watson, but Sergio is the name I think out of the 2 former champions in this range that has a slightly better chance. I mean, even if he putts average, he can actually contend here this week. I don't know what your thoughts on him, trying to read my notes here. He's 16 out of 18 tournaments. He's made the cut here. It all come down to his putting, but I think you can get some decent success and value if he's even average at the putting this week.
Well, and he's in great form too. I think he's a play for sure. I skipped over him, but these are his last few tournaments: T5, T9, T32, missed cut, but then a 12th and a 6th before that. So I mean, he's been in really good form. So I like Sergio, and I feel like you said, if he can make a putt, he can win this again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into the 6K range, because again, there's some fun names in this range as well. Because again, when you have 89 of the greatest golfers in the world playing, the bottom of the 6K are the seniors like Sandy Lyle, Trevor Immelman. Cabrera isn't even playing. Isn't Cabrera in like jail or something like that?
I don't even know.
You're not worried about those names in this field,
right?
The only senior you'd even consider worrying about is Bernard Langer, which we'll touch on him in a little bit. I love him.
Champions Tour legend.
Exactly. Golfing legend. I love him.
Golfing legend. Anyway,
there's some really interesting names in the upper half of the 6K range. Corey Connors is a name that jumps out at me. Ryan Palmer, Matt Harmon. Are there any that stick out to you as potential lineup balancers so you could play multiple, maybe top-end guys?
So I love Connors too, just about every single week. The problem with Connors is that they have him at 15%. I have a rule that I never play anybody under 6K that is not under 10% owned. So that's a no-go for me, I think, this week, because I feel like you can go other places. Love Matt Kuchar at this event. Amazing course history, and third and a T12 in his last two events. So I like him. He's in really good form. I have a few other ones that I like in this range too. Palmer, you brought up. I think he's way underpriced. I think he's a really good golfer, and I feel like he should definitely be in the 7s. Ian Poulter has pretty good course history here. Like him, just a solid cut maker. He's not going to win, but I think he's going to make the cut, and he could finish, T25. And then my last one I'm going to say is Matt Wallace. Love him. I play him pretty much every single week. I feel like the more tough the week plays, the better off he is. So like him a lot. I'll say one more too. Christian Bezuidenhout. I just like saying his name. So
you only want to say his name. That's it.
I just like the guy in general. So I think I might sprinkle in a little bit of him too. Not that I just named half the range, but
you stole everybody from me. But back to Ryan Palmer. You talked about his price and how low priced he is. He's also the odds are no long shot wins the Masters. It never happens. But he's 160 to 1 to win, and he's so underpriced. So you kind of got to throw, half a bet at him, because some years some long shot's going to win it. And I love his game this week. You named all the good 6Ks, so I'm going to bring up some other names and ask your thoughts.
Can I make a comment about Palmer real quick?
Yeah.
Another lock of the week, Ryan Palmer top 10.
Love it. I'm writing it down because I have room to make more bets. So I did hit my big Baylor outright win the tournament bet. So I'm flushing the bankroll right now to make bets.
It's all going to be gone this week, but whatever.
Yeah, it's all gone. I've already bet like 15 bets already, and I got like 10 more written down to make stuff. I'm debating and all. So what are your thoughts on 3-time green jacket wearer Phil Mickelson? People think he's playing really bad, but he's not playing awful. He has won the Masters 3 times. And we're not talking about Phil Mickelson winning the event. We're talking about making the cut. He's only 6,600 on DraftKings. We're talking about his value. He's gained strokes on approach 4 of his last 6 events. He missed his last cut. That was because that 10 on the 18th hole that really did him in.
Yeah.
He's got 15 top 10s in his Masters history. I know he's played it like 400 times, but he's made the top 10 15 times. I mean, what are your thoughts on Phil Mickelson this week?
It's a no for me, but I love Phil Mickelson, and I would love to see him contend here.
Betting,
fading
him everywhere.
Yeah, I can't. He's my favorite golfer, but I can't do it this week. I just can't.
Okay, that's an honest opinion. I appreciate it. I don't know if I will, use him or not. But what about Siwoo Kim? He T34 better is 3 times here. He's 6,700. He's top 10 in strokes gained approach. He's played some really solid golf this year. Not a bet, but a guy to cheapen up your lineup if you need to.
Yeah, I love him this week too. He's a guy that he can contend. I'm not sure he will, but I think he can contend. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's one of those guys too. He's like Louis kind of in a way that like he could come out and finish in the top 5, but he could also withdraw at any point. So
yeah. He's the kind of guy to me. He's not one of the ones I've made yet, but I'm still. It's on my maybe list as a bet for first round leader, Siwoo Kim, because he might be able to come out, strong right off the bat and then go from there. Any other names that we missed before we jump into the next part of this show? I mean, we're going real long tonight. It's Masters Week, everybody. Hang in, watch. We got so much more to talk about still.
So I like one more, Sebastian Munoz, T19 in the fall here and T9 last week. So I like him. Kind of a guy that I think that he's not going to win, but I think a top 25 could be in order. Okay. So don't hate that.
No, I love it. All right. So I built 3 lineups. I want to get your opinion on them. Okay. On it. And then I'm going to, there's money left on the table for each one. And for anybody watching it, we're going to read something in a second here that he's going to read. Leaving money on the table is so important. Can you read what you found on why? And we've preached this before.
Yes. So this is courtesy of Fantasy Labs. They're a pretty good DFS site out there. So pretty good site. So this guy said, I found that 45.6% of all entries used 100% of the salary cap in the Million Maker last year at the Masters, which would give you higher odds of splitting the top prize with an abundance of people. Meanwhile, 21.4% of the entries only left 100 on the table, 11.6 left 200 on the table, and 7.5 left 300 on the table. So basically, each time you go down $100 to leave 100 more on the table, you're cutting that percentage in half pretty much. So say you leave $500 on the table, you don't need to go crazy. $500 will do it. I mean, you'll be unique in that. So it says in a stacked field like the Masters, not using the full salary cap won't force you into any suboptimal builds, and leaving salary on the table can boost your odds of having a unique lineup and giving yourself $1 million. So that's why I do it right there.
That's the key thing, the unique lineup. You want that unique lineup so you're not there's not 50 exact same lineups as yours.
I think that 45.6% use all the money in the pool. That right there tells me I need to leave at least $300 on the table at all times.
Absolutely. So I built 3 lineups. It's not my favorite lineup, but you just used that term 500. So I have 3 build lineups here that I was just messing around with numbers to see how I can get the right combination. None of these lineups have been played yet. One I left 100 on the table, one I left 400, and one I left 500. We'll start with the 500 first. So I built a lineup with Brian Harmon at 6,800, Sergio and Adam Scott. They're both in my 7K range. Cameron Smith. Then that left me enough to have Xander Schauffele and Webb Simpson as my higher priced guys, and it left 500 on the table. So Harmon, Sergio, Scott, Smith, Webb, and Xander. Where would you rank that if on a scale of 1 to 10? Is that a good balanced lineup? Am I missing out on something there?
I love that lineup, to be honest with you. I love Harmon. We didn't talk too much about Harmon.
We didn't talk about Brian Harmon, did we?
And Adam Scott I like this week too. So I like that lineup a lot.
Okay. So the next lineup, I left 400 on the table. Okay. So this is actually I'm really close to playing this one. And I would like the thoughts on this. I got Corey Connors, Matthew Fitzpatrick, and Ryan Palmer. Okay, they're the first 3 guys on the list. And again, I already said it, Matthew Fitzpatrick and Paul Casey, one or the other in every lineup I play probably. So I get my Fitzpatrick in. I go cheap with Corey Connors and Ryan Palmer, both under 7K. And then left me room to play Daniel Berger, Jordan Spieth, and I know everybody hates him, but Rory McIlroy. And it left 400 on the table. So Connors, Fitzpatrick, Palmer, Berger, Spieth, and Rory.
I like the first one better.
Okay. All right. So I got another one. And this is the one that I liked at first the most, but I'm still, after doing the show, that's why I don't place any of my lineups. I place bets, but I don't place any lineups until I'm done this show. Because I have my opinions, I've heard opinions, and I take Jason's opinion and throw it out the window.
Along with your money.
The hour mark on the show. So I built this lineup. Love this lineup. Again, I only left 100 on the table. So I'm not a fan of leaving that little on the table. I like to leave that 300 to 500 on the table. But I got Jason Day, Siwoo Kim, Answer, and Casey. They're my cheap plays, all under 7,800. Okay, so Day, Kim, Answer, Casey. And then that left me enough to put Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau, which I have to get Bryson in at least one lineup because he's my pick to win.
Okay, that's my favorite.
You like that lineup?
By far. Yeah.
I love that lineup, but I don't love leaving only $100 on the table.
Which I agree, but I do like the fact that you put Cantlay and Bryson in there, 2 guys that can win. So I like that. I got two guys that could win, and then I got Paul Casey, who to an extent is almost like a long shot to win. Yeah.
His odds are 24 to 1. That's like in realistic terms, that's the furthest you want to go down. That's a long shot for the Masters. It's not a long shot in other tournaments. 24 to 1's a long shot at the Masters. So I've got two guys that could win, a hypothetical long shot in Paul Casey, plus Answer, Kim, and Day, who are all make the cut at the Masters monsters. So,
Well, yeah, I love that one. That's a good lineup.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have any built ones you want to hear, or do you want to get into building our lineup?
I have not built a lineup yet. So,
right.
You want to do bets first, or you want to do our lineup first?
Let's build our DraftKings lineup. Then we're going to get into bets. Mike's writing it down. Mike, make sure you write down this, because the lineup that we build never wins, but all the other ones we talk about always hit. So,
yeah,
I'll bow down to you since you're wearing tiger red and black.
I did it. That's why I did it. I was going to say R.I.P. to the legend, but he's not dead. So hold on a minute.
So you get to go first.
Okay. Hold on. I'm getting there.
All right. We're on the clock here,
Sorry. Rookie move. Okay. So I'm going to go with the first pick. I'm going to go with Baby Swag, John Rahm.
Man, I already hate our lineup. I hate John Rahm this week.
I like how the first guy in our lineup is a fade for you.
Yeah. First guy out of my lineup, 100%. But that's all right. All right. We'll stick to that. All right. And again, to anybody tuning in, we built this lineup. We both bet it every single week. Bet at your own risk, because that's pretty much what it is. Bet at your own risk. So that's that. So hold on a second here. I got to save money instantly right off the bat. So we're gonna go. A guy we both agreed has a really good shot at making the top 10. We're going Ryan Palmer.
Like it.
Yeah. So Ryan Palmer, takes that 7,800 average back up to 8,100 for you. So we got John Rahm and Ryan Palmer in there so far.
All right. I'm gonna go with Jason Day, 7,500.
I like Jason Day. I mean, he's in a lot of my lineup builds that I'm thinking about. So all right. So that puts us at 8,300. We still need someone cheap or cheaper before we round out this lineup.
I have lots of cheap guys, so if you want to go big, go big.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go huge, but if you're going to let me put anybody and not worry about it, I'm going to go Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, I just said Bryce by mistake there. Hold on a second. Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Wrong Fitzpatrick.
You're going to go with the less cool.
All right, so
Matthew Fitzpatrick is a lot less cool than Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll tell you that right now.
No way. Once he gets that green jacket, Matthew Fitzpatrick's way cooler.
Boom.
All right, so that's locked. So you're at 8,450. You got to go cheap. You got to leave me one big play or fairly big play.
Okay, I was gonna not go cheap, but I will for you.
You just said you'd go cheap. No. Go with who you want.
Changed my mind. No.
Go with who you want, and I will pick the cheap player because I got names I can pick.
I'm going Billy Ho, 7,200.
Who?
Billy Horschel.
I said Huddle. I'm like, who's Billy Huddle?
Billy Ho.
Yeah, Billy Ho. All right, so that's that. That leaves me with 9,700 on the table to make my final pick of this lineup here. Let's see, where are we at here? 9,700.
Morikawa on down.
Yeah, no. So it's Morikawa and down. You already picked one guy I hate in Rahm, so we're skipping over Spieth.
Can I tell you who I was going to pick before you said something?
What?
I was going to pick Victor Hovland.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. I'm going to go Webb Simpson.
Do it. I like it.
At least 700 on the table, which is a bit steep to leave on the table.
I don't mind it.
So here's our lineup, guys. Do with it what you want. I'm betting it. I can't wait to put it in. It's not my Millionaire Maker lineup, but it's going to be a decent lineup. I go crazy on Masters Week. I've got so many lineups I'm building. It's the only week I enter the Millionaire Maker on DraftKings for golf. So I love it. But I'm not.
Listen, he wants some money. He's trying to throw it all away this week. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's our lineup: John Rahm, Ryan Palmer, Jason Day, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Billy Horschel. I'm sorry, and Webb Simpson. They're my lineups. That's our lineup. That's our lineup. Write it down, invest it, and hopefully you win with it.
I was gonna say, just don't go too big, because
just don't go too big. That'll probably be normally I only put our lineups in a quarter lineup. I might go $1, $3. We'll see this week. All right. So, have you made any bets yet this week?
I've made 5 bets this week.
That's it? What are you slacking for?
I have not made 15 like you, but however, I made 5, and I made them last weekend actually. So I have Sergio 45 to 1,
okay.
Rahm 11 to 1,
Mm-hmm.
That was before the baby. Rahm 11-1. Xander 22-1. Hovland 33-1, and Hatton 45-1.
Wow, you made a lot of outright win bets.
So that
was,
one I hate. That
which one?
I don't like the Hatton one. I just feel like his odds are too low for what they should be.
So if you had to pick
high,
one or two of those that you're the most confident in, what are your two most confident ones of those?
Sergio and Rahm.
Sergio and Rahm.
45-1 and Rahm 11-1. Rahm's gonna win, but
so I've also made 5 outright bets. Just like you. I've already talked about Paul Casey 34-1, Fitzpatrick 46-1, Bryson at 19-1. I've actually made a double bet on him because I love Bryson this week. I think he dominates the course. I already said I threw a little tiny bet on Ryan Palmer. Odds are he's not going to hit at 160-1, but you might as well because I do love his game. And then I talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. I love Rory McIlroy. I placed a bet and a half on Rory at 19-1. So they're my 5 outright bets. I've got a lot more bets. I already mentioned I made a missed cut bet on Brooks Koepka at almost 3-1. I got a top 20 bet on Siwoo Kim. It was 3.5-1. Small little bet. I love the small little bets like that. And I made 3 top 10 bets. Paul Casey at 24-1. Jason Day at, I don't even know what that says there. Maybe that says 36-1. I can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. And I wrote at Justin Thomas. I wanted to bet Justin Thomas to win, and then I saw my Players Championship, stat where you don't win both the same year. Yep. So I just bet him top 10. And it's like even money on him to make the top 10. But I think you can get even money on Justin Thomas making the top 10. I think it's kind of a smart bet. I've got more, but I'll let you take any other thoughts on any other bets that you might have.
No, that's all. I don't have any more at this point. So
I got 2 more. I got 2 couple more categories. I bet Bernard Langer to be the top senior in the event. I know there's younger seniors in this event, but at 5-1, I love Bernard Langer to be the top senior tour player on it.
I almost put him in our lineup. I was thinking about if you didn't put Palmer in the lineup, I was probably going to put Langer in the lineup.
I got more, Mike. I got more. We talked about Brian Harman. We love Brian Harman, right? You get 2.5-1 on your money for him to be the top finishing left-handed golfer in the event. I think it's a steal. What other lefty is going to finish? Bubba, maybe.
Mike Weir.
Phil Mickelson.
I'm kidding, but Mike Weir.
They're not going to finish higher than Brian Harman. So 2.5-1 on your money for Brian Harman to be the top lefty. Lock it in right now, Mike. Mike,
you know
write that one down, Mike.
Poor Mike's going to lose all his money this week.
Exactly. I made 3 round 1 leader bets. Love the round. Our boy Chris E., he gave us the ideas on the round 1 leader. So I put Cameron Smith, Xander Schauffele, and Lee Westwood as first round leader bets.
Like it.
They're all 29 and above to 1.
If I was going to bet first round leader, it would be Xander.
Xander? Well, he's 29-1 to be leading after the first round. So, and that bet's already locked in. And I just mentioned it. I don't know what his odds are yet. I haven't looked it up. But Siwoo Kim, I've been convinced, is going to be added to my round 1 leader bet pool. So, yeah, that's like 15 bets. So, 3, 4.
Mike's daughter's college fund is just going down the toilet right now.
I made 15 bets so far. So, why not? Again, Baylor winning. Mike was all about Baylor winning too. He can invest all about the Birds March Madness bracket winning money on the golf picks this week. I guarantee some of these are going to hit. So,
you know what's funny about that too? We talked about that on the show that he was the betting favorite. It wasn't even close. I mean, we knew he was going to win.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A guy that studies betting is going to win all the time. So, yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. I still say Bryson DeChambeau wins this event. It's going to be so much fun, in my opinion. If come Sunday, some of those par 5s, he's up there. There's going to be a crowd at Augusta. I mean, how can you not, just want to see Bryson getting that crowd riled up?
Did you happen to see today, Bryson was playing a practice round with Vijay Singh? What happened?
It wasn't a practice round. He was on the range with VJ.
Or the range. No. I thought they were playing around together because I think he was hitting the drive.
I saw the video of him, watching on the range and just laughing.
Okay.
He was just rapid firing with his driver.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff.
Totally forgot about one other thing. Stall for like 30 seconds. Let's see if I can find this one other thing that I thought was really great.
We talked about everything.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah, to see if I could pull this up on the screen here. or not, this is a little fun. I found it already, so it didn't take long. I just don't know if I can stall or share it. So here's a little fun one to end. This is the menu at concession stands at Augusta.
Oh,
and I can't believe the prices are so cheap. But if you had $15 to spend on this food, where would you spend your money?
So let's do categories. You got to do each category. You got to pick one thing.
Okay. Well, I'm going with the barbecue sandwich at $2.50.
You have to go barbecue sandwich.
You got to. I don't want no egg salad sandwich from a freaking concession stand. That's not going to happen.
The pimento, however you say that.
Pimento cheese sandwich. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. I'm going barbecue all day.
How can you not see these prices being a little high? Like a beer is like this must be not the one I found because beers were $4. Damn it. I must have pulled up an old one. Oh, well. We're going with this one.
Funny? You know what's funny about this is that this is all cheap, but it costs like $2,000 to go get a ticket for this tournament. So that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm going with the barbecue sandwich, the sausage biscuit. I'm obviously going with beers. You know
what the best part about this is? It says barbecue. Like that's all it says, barbecue. You don't know what barbecue it is, but so yeah, you got to go barbecue. Yeah, you got to go barbecue. You got to go sausage biscuit. You got to go beer, and then I don't know, whatever you want at the bottom. Chips.
Dessert. So I'm going to spend my dessert money and my snack money on bottled water to stay hydrated walking those.
Yeah, right.
So I got one final really interesting question for you. Dream scenario: you get to go to Augusta to watch the final round of the Masters. Okay, you got the lanyard. You've got access to the entire grounds. What are you doing? Are you getting a front row seat at like the 18th putting green and staying there the entire day? Are you picking one group and following that entire group for the day? Or are you just bouncing around the course and watching a little bit of everything?
First off, I'm inviting you to go with me.
Oh.
So you're there. So Phil's there. That? My buddy Phil's there. I feel like we're bouncing around the course a little bit, but I feel like on Sunday we're sticking at 18 the entire day.
The entire day.
I don't know. I just always thought, like, how cool would it be to watch somebody win the Masters on the 18th green? Yeah. I think that would be so cool.
I want that premier seat right in the front of that green on Sunday. But on the flip side of the equation, the rest of the tournament, because you don't buy one ticket, you buy tickets for multiple days.
Of course,
I'm bouncing around the course. I want to see Eamon's corner with a couple guys. I want to see Bryson on the par fives. I'm bouncing around. But on 18th on Sunday, I'm putting my butt in a green chair, little folding chair right there, and I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm not moving. I'm not losing that seat to anybody.
That's always one of my favorite things to watch, especially in the majors, is that those putts on 18 when it's like for the win and so-and-so, Jordan Spieth or whoever, putts it, and then right when he putts it, the whole crowd stands up like that. I don't know. That gives you chills every time.
I love it.
That's awesome.
There's nothing better than the Masters. I mean, I know we've got the PGA coming up in 4 weeks or whatever. And we'll be excited for the PGA. I love it. But it's not –
yeah.
I mean, it's the green jacket. It's the ugliest jacket in sports. It's the ugliest trophy type of thing you get. But you tell me that it doesn't give you goosebumps to watch these grown men crying when the green jacket is put on them. I mean, it's what you play the sport for. 110%.
I always think back to Bubba in 2012 when his dad passed away. His dad had just passed away a couple days before that, and he puts on the jacket. He's crying and everything. It's crazy. I mean,
has there been a golfer that has won multiple times? It had, the first year he won. The 1 year his baby was born or his wife was sick or something.
Yeah.
And then his dad the other time. I mean, he's always had so much emotion at the Masters, and he's had some of the most miraculous shots. That hook shot he hit out of the woods. I mean, it doesn't get more, I don't know, entertaining, exciting than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything you got to wrap up before we close this party out for the night?
No. So you said Bryson's going to win?
Bryson's my number one pick with a very close second, Rory McIlroy.
Okay. I'm going Rahm. Okay. Baby swag.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll see. Whoever's right has to buy the ticket for the Masters.
Okay. Well, with all those bets that you placed this week, you might be loaded by Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, it's not going to happen. No, I'll be able to afford the pimento cheese sandwich on at the Masters, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'll buy you a beer in Florida in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's right. First beer's on you. We'll be doing our show in a few weeks from Clearwater, Florida. That's right. Can't wait for that. Again, awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Masters preview show on Fairway to Heaven, powered by the All About the Birds Network. As always, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll post all our bets. Make sure you're following the Fairway to Heaven Twitter page at Fairway, the number 2, Heaven _. It's where we post all our favorite lineups, and we'll post our top, builds that we do, all our bets throughout the weekend. Because again, we've preached on the show. It's all about before the tournament starts, but so much money to be made, betting live, your third round, DraftKings lineup, your fourth round DraftKings lineup, so much money to be made there as well. So make sure you check all that out. Again, got to thank our sponsors, Hemp Bombs, premium CBD products, hempbombs.com, promo code AATBirds for 20% off. And I'm excited. I can't wait. And man, I hope we have an exciting. The one thing I do not want on Sunday is a 4-shot lead going into the final round.
Yeah,
I want it to
November.
Be neck.
Exactly.
I want it to be 2-3 guys chasing that green jacket at the end.
Yep, can't wait.
All right.
It's going to be exciting.
Everybody have a great night. Again, thank you, Jason. You can follow him on Twitter at jsully2121. Myself on Twitter at Beard and Knowledge. Everybody have a fantastic night, fantastic week. It's Masters Week, everybody. Have a great one.
Support for All About the Birds is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. Manscaped hooked us up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. The Perfect Package also includes a deodorant for your undercarriage to prevent odors and chafing, a reviving lotion, a pair of boxers and a t-shirt, not to mention a travel bag to store all your grooming goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBirds. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.